Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Wednesday. It's December 6th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. We had a little better trading day today. Big bearish down day. We opened up. It looked similar as always. Looked like we were going to have another range day, but this thing finally turned down. We got a trend down and closed almost on the lows. So we'll see if we get any follow through selling tomorrow. Um, just looking back across this thing, we still haven't put in a new high here. Maybe we won't get one. Like I said, a market that can't go up will eventually go down. This thing is tried and tried. We'll see if it'll try to go down now. If it can't go down, it'll try to go up again. So we still got to get through this support. We haven't been able to close through that yet. So we'll see what happens. But it looked pretty bearish today. Actually, a really good trading day. We finally got some trades and some setups, and not just some crazy mixed trading that was all over the place. So hopefully you took advantage of today. But let's flip over to the 2000 tick chart, take a look at it, and go through the trades, and we'll wrap this day up. Okay, this is how I see it. Early on, your overnight highs are up here, lows are here, and you can see there's a clear midline in there. And it looked like we were going to be range bound with all this mixed trading again, but finally it turned down here. We had a steeper channel actually originally, and it kind of folded over into this khaki colored channel in the end. So we really have three trends down here. We have a real steep one. This one was very similar, and then it flattened out a little bit. Okay, a little interruption there, but so really we got three trends down. Early we had two measured legs, almost perfect measured legs, and that's why we probably hesitated here for a while. People were trying to buy, maybe looking for a bottom here, and the selling just overtook it, and then we spent the rest of the day going down. We got a little choppy here, but if you found these two trend lines, your setups were mostly off these trend lines. There were some longs down here at this bottom after the two legs down, and they all worked out, but we never really bounced off that. I just think there's too much selling coming in, and this thing ends up going lower. And it got sideways a few times. All the best trades were at the confirmed key entry points or trend lines, and so if you found those, you should have found the better trades. But there's plenty of trades here early. Got a little weaker during the afternoon, but you couldn't really try to buy in this thing. It's just not very smart to try to buy it. So anyway, let's zoom in here, go through the trades, show you how I saw it. We had that 7:15 news item, so you had to wait till about 7:30 to enter. There was a failure right here, and it was just so congested. There's plenty of room to get out. Maybe you take that trade. I went ahead and marked it into the news item because it's just a little unclear what prices are going to do. It looks like the midline of a range here, so I'm a little hesitant to go long there. And if you didn't enter there, you just really didn't get another chance to enter. There is a second entry here, but the high is too close. You just don't have room to scalp out there. It would have worked, but you don't know that in advance. It could go one tick higher and turn down like it tried to do right there, and it could have turned down. So you just can't take that trade. It looks a little congested too. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars, and that one really has no body or a tiny body. This one, same thing, as well as this one. So you really can't take that trade. There was a second entry short right here, but I didn't mark it. If it would have ticked lower on this next bar, I'd say probably take that trade. But when this one went higher and couldn't even break below that one, that's a little concerning, especially without much room to the lows here. And it does look a little sideways. There's just some strong support across there. I didn't draw the line, but if you draw the line, you can clearly see there's some support and there's not much room. So that's not a great place to go short. Let it break lower and see if you get something. And sure enough, it does break lower. And really, you got a double top here. And then it broke higher. So this is like a new high, and it tried to go higher once, twice. And it broke higher and turned down. I like entering that on the engulfing bar, one tick below this green bar here. But you could wait till this closed. The problem is it's never, on both the entries, it's never a great idea to go short at the low of a move. But when it broke higher there and failed and turned down, when it goes below there, you got a trap. And you can see this was a great trap because notice how it gaps over there. It closes on its low. The next one opens on its high and just keeps going. You probably couldn't get in this one if you waited till this one closed. So the engulfing bar was the better way to enter. And because it's a trap, you see how quickly it moves and how far it moves. Um, I mean, it moves a full, almost, well, it does. It moves a full over 5 points before it semi bounces and then goes a little bit lower. So they really trapped the longs here. And that was a great trap. So I like that one. Just the first entry there, that's too congested. Same thing here, nothing down here, and then it breaks out and comes back and turns down right off the key entry point. I like that as a failed break out of this little, you really get a whole new congestion here. It's still part of the bigger channel, but you can see that. It's a breakout. It's right off the main key entry point. I like going short there. It's just technically it's a second entry too. This is really a double bottom, and you do get a break lower and you do get a break lower. So by the counts, it's a second entry, but really what you're playing is a double top and a failed break out of this congestion that prices are probably going to in a downtrend. So you're entering with a downtrend. So you move two legs down and then you move two legs up and you actually get a close outside this first trend channel. There's no real setup there to enter. And then you're just still inside this range, and you can't go short down here. You actually break out. You might, there's a triple test here. The problem with this bar is it closes higher, so this is technically your signal bar. It's tempting to want to take that, but I'd just wait because you've also got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attempts to go higher there that can't go higher. There's really just another little. This is the way this thing's done a lot lately. It goes sideways and then it spurts off, and it's dangerous entering out of that stuff, and you never know what's going to happen, but it does. It breaks up for two legs up, and it looks like we're going to get a setup to go short, but we don't, and it just falls. And there's no real setup to get in this whole thing. And then it bottoms down here. I wouldn't buy anything down here. I'd wait for a reversal. Then it runs up here, and you actually get a first entry, second entry, but it's also, again, a little tight range that you get a failed break out of and a chance to go long right there. Plenty of room to get out. That's a quick, easy move, and then it turns right down off that high. That one's tempting, but it's too congested across there. This thing is just extending on. You can see it breaks out a couple of times. It tries to go higher and can't go higher. It's just sit tight here. Don't do anything. And it just keeps working down. Finally, you get a break, and then you get a first entry, second entry, and you bounce down here where we've had some support before. So now that you've got the break of this and you're down here at these lows, you also get you've tested this before. I'm not as crazy about this one, but because it is a second entry, a good signal bar, a double bottom, maybe you take that one. You're better off to wait, and then suddenly you get a double bottom or a high or low and a better signal bar. That's the place to go long. When it didn't follow through there and it broke lower here, you can't go long right into that high. So if you didn't get long here, just sit out of this one. Don't take that higher low there. Then we just continue to find support. You could have entered here if you'd have had a good signal bar, but you don't. It runs up and it turns down again right off that key entry point, or actually you set that key entry point off of that, but it's not really confirmed yet. But this is tempting, and maybe you go short there. It's just a lot of stem there too, and it closes above the midline. And we didn't quite get back up to the resistance. So if this is not a trend line down through here, it makes this questionable. But the next thing you know, it fails out the bottom, gives you a high or low. It actually breaks lower and turns up. You could enter that on the engulfing bar if you still got room to get out before the EMA. And we're not so worried about the EMA. It's probably going to come back and try to go higher. It may fail and end up going lower like it does, but it's probably going to come back. And so I like going long there just on the failed breakout, high or low on the failed breakout. There's a second entry short here as well, but you're back in this support or in the range or sideways stuff, and you're back above the support. You're really close there, so if you're wrong and it bounces there and goes higher, you're in trouble. So I really just don't think it's worth taking there. Just sit tight. And if you didn't take that, again, there's no entry. So it comes down here, it finally gets a break. There's a second entry short here, but no setup. And you actually get a triple test here, but no signal bar. And then you can't go long here on the higher or low because it's right into resistance. It does break higher and end up going higher, and then you get a break. And you try to go higher once, twice. So you get a break and two legs up, and then you finally hit that trend line. You actually confirm that trend line right here, but that's just a first entry. And it's got a little stem there at the end of the bar, as you can see. So wait and see if you get a lower high or a second entry short or something. And you actually go short right there, but you can't enter that. And then it turns back up and comes back by again. So technically that's a second entry, but it's also a double top, and it's a big bearish bar right at that key entry point. And so I like entering there. It struggles to go down. And notice on this last one, we didn't quite get to the lows. And so when it makes another high or low here, we're probably going to get a break up here soon. So it runs back up and we do get the break. There's no setups there, unfortunately. So you have to kind of watch this one go without you. There is a failed second entry here, but that's too big of a leg, and this is way, such a small leg. They just don't really fit together. So this could be a little two-legged something, and you might get two legs back up and then a bigger leg. So I just think you have to sit this out. Nothing there says it's screaming to go short. I mean, it's tempting right there on a first. That's just a first entry, though. And it's not an ideal reversal. It's not really a good spot for a reversal. You want that off the key entry point. It's more of a continuation pattern. So just sit tight. Bounces at the midline here. Pulls back. Gets a first entry. There's actually a second entry long there with a triple. We tried to go lower 3 times, so there's a triple test, but it's just too congested. And it actually gaps over and runs up. So I don't know if you'd have got in that or not. But finally, you get 2 legs back and you get a break of this. It looks like a spike in channel. And you get a break here. But you can't enter on that. If it would have broke above that bar, I mean, you're right into that resistance. And that's the original range. So it's like we're trying to get back in the range as well. So you just can't, you just can't really enter there. I lost my spot here. We were right here, I guess. So you really just can't go long there. And then, of course, we confirm the khaki channel here, but no signal bar. We come back and confirm it again and could get a failure, even though we never break lower right there. It finally breaks lower here, so it's still a failed. This is technically a second entry, so really this would be the better failure. It's not really, I mean, there's one leg down, a correction, a second leg down, a correction, but then you get another little two-legged correction in there. This is not technically congestion. You don't have the little small no-bodied bar or anything. It's just sideways, and it's prices trying to go higher that are finding resistance. And we've tried to go higher 1, 2, 3, 4 and made a lower high each time. If we break lower here, we're probably going lower. So I like that one. It's a quick, easy trap. It gives you a scalp, and then you just start going sideways again. Don't go long there. It breaks out, and what does it do? It turns down right off the key entry point. And that is a first entry, second entry, but it's also a failed break out of the congestion. But more than that too, it's a triple test. We try to go out once, twice, 3 times. So I like entering there. We actually try to enter again, and you could call that a double bottom. But by this time, this looks like congestion. You see how it doesn't go anywhere right away until here. And again, you get another little double top here with congestion, and you get a first entry and a second entry, and it breaks higher and fails. You can't enter that one on an engulfing bar because it's a doji type bar with no body hardly. But you could enter right here if you really want to enter that. I marked it green. And this thing, the bottom just drops out of it. And this is one of those strong trend sell-offs. You can see all the little dojis, and the corrections are real shallow. So if you recognize that, you could enter. You really don't. It's really not obvious probably until it comes back here. We do confirm it here, so maybe you enter there. But when it comes back here, and that's now confirmed. So any good signal bar that touches this key entry point, if you understand what's going on, you could enter it. I mark them as green because they're aggressive and you need to know what you're doing. But if you understand these kind of trends, these tight channels that just keep going and have lots of stems on both sides, and the corrections are real shallow, just take them. Take any one that gives you a good signal. So if you understand what's going on here, you could take any of these, and you can see they're good signal bars right off the key entry point. You see how any of them would have worked. There was another one. No, this wasn't a signal bar. This one made the high. So, and you see, very rarely do you have a failure on that. They're a little aggressive, and they could fail, but very rarely would I ever see a good signal bar off a trend line in a tight channel that's real strong, either up or down like that. Rarely did I ever see it fail. And so, if you traded that late in the afternoon, that was a good trend to trade. But again, that's more advanced. It's for more skilled traders. Most of you should stay away from that because you'll misread it, and you'll try it and you'll fail because you won't know what you're doing. So wait till you're profitable and been trading for a while, and you've learned to see those, and you've seen them a few times, and maybe you just sim trade them for now till you get the hang of them. Start and prove to yourself you can read them. So, but there it is. That's how I saw it today. There's really 3 downtrends, a lot of sideways stuff in there early, and then we broke lower here. And you notice how we tested this a few times before we finally went lower. And that's the way you really want to see a failure before you enter short. Most of the time, these failures you want to look to get long on them, but because most of them are going to fail. But I just didn't see anything in here I really liked to the long side for the most part. You were better because we're in these downtrends. So you just, if you're in a downtrend and break out this support down here, then just be careful. Don't be trying to just let it come back to the key entry points and trade that or whatever. So there it is. That's how I saw it today. Much better trading day today than we've had last few days. So hopefully you found it a little easier to trade today. I mean, again, early on, there's a lot of sideways stuff in here still. Even late, I mean, even up until 2 o'clock, there's still a lot of sideways stuff. But if you found these trends, you could at least, these trend channels, you at least knew where the trend lines were, and that would help you a lot. That's the key on these. So, and these are not as easy to find. It takes a little more experience. So you just have to, really what happened was you had this trend down, and then you had a 2-legged correction. So another trend starts here, but this is what, but it just keeps, even though it goes sideways here, it keeps going. So it comes to find out we got another bigger trend here, and then we got a break here, but it never could go higher. So you got to figure there's probably another trend line here. When you start turning down, just draw this trend line if that's what it helps you, because you really had 2 touches and a confirmation there. So even if you couldn't find it from up here, you should have been able to find it from down here, like so. And you get your 2 touches and a confirmation. And you still get your midline in there. So there's more way, there's more ways to skin this cat than one, but a lot of it is based on experience, and most of the trends are basic. I mean, these are all, oops, didn't mean to do that. I mean, this is basic, this is basic. This one's fairly basic because you just draw it off the first two swings and it comes back. This one's a little harder to find. Most of the time, most of these trends are all basic in here. These tighter ones, they're all pretty basic. They were pretty easy to find. Most of them will be, but you'll get days where it's harder to find one than other days. And just like here, there's a trend here. It comes down right through there. And notice you get a break, two little swings to it, or two legs to a new low, and it reverses. Then you got this one coming up. You get a close outside, a move to a new high, tries to make two and fails and turns down. So this stuff works. It's not always clear cut how to find them. You just have to learn. It's a skill. And like any skill, how do you get better at it? Practice and repetition. I can show you the basics of it, but nobody can teach you really how to trade. It's like the best way I know to describe it is like trying to play a musical instrument. I can teach you notes and I can teach you music, but the only way you're going to be a skilled player is to practice every day and get practice and repetition. Nobody can help you in that. That's on you. It's on you. Go out and practice. Get on the sim trader. Sim trade every day, taking everything you think you need to trade, and then at the end of the day, that's when the real work starts. You go over every trade, you study every trade, you figure out what you did right, you reinforce it, you figure out what you did wrong, you learn your bad tendencies, and you correct them. And that's how you get better at trading. If you just come in here and trade every day and then close up and go home, trust me, you're not going to get better. You're not going to understand what you did wrong. You're not going to, you have to do the study is imperative, not just trading. And it helps to study the charts as much as you can. Whenever you got some spare time, study charts. But nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to trading every day, live data. Not replay. I mean, replay is the next best thing, but you need to be trading live data just like you would be when you go live. Because if you can do this on a sim trader, trading live data, then there's no reason you can't do it live other than between your ears. Just getting your head right. And that's part of it too. You'll have to work on that. Because when your real money's on the line, you start thinking different, you start acting different, and you'll trade differently. And you'll screw up. But you'll get used to it over time, and it won't phase you anymore. And but all this takes time, and hard work. Nothing's. If you want to be a professional piano player, how do you do that? You practice. You learn how to play it first, and then you sit down every day, and nobody can help you do that. They might show you some special notes, some tricks, like I do, but that's all you can do. The rest of it's up to you. It's not going to help you to get a one-on-one mentor. It's not going to help you to go into a chat room or a trading room. You're just learning. That's never going to help you because you eventually have to do it on your own. It's like learning to read a map. I can teach you how to read a map, but eventually, if you want to get anywhere by yourself, you got to learn to read the map, and that's on you. Nobody can help you with that. Yeah, we can teach you the tricks and rules and give you tips, but eventually you got to learn it on your own, and that's the way trading is. So never lose sight of that. I think a lot of people don't understand that. I say it enough that every one of you should at least know it, even if you don't believe it or understand it. You should know it. So trust me when I tell you this stuff. You got to learn this on your own. This is not trading is a lonely business, and human nature. You want to group up with people and get together and trade together, and all that's going to do is set you back. Don't waste your time in trading rooms. Only go into the forum when you're trying to learn something or got questions. Don't spend your time there. You spend your time on the simulator, learning and training. And trading and studying, and then study all your trades every day. That's how you get better. Most people come into this with very unrealistic expectations. They think they're going to read a manual or take a course or watch some video lessons, and then they're going, in a month or two, they're going to get on here and trade, and they're going to make money. It just doesn't work like that because it's a skill, and for you to make a dollar, somebody has to lose a dollar. This is a zero sum game. And the skilled traders don't lose very much, so they end up with all the money and everybody else are donors. Don't be a donator. Don't donate your money to the cause. The market needs donors. If it didn't have fresh donors all the time, it would eventually run out of money. There's so much long-term investment that there's plenty of money here being passed around, but it really helps to have day traders to come in and be donors. So don't be a donor. Wait, don't go live until you've proven you can make money on the simulator. And I don't mean have one or two good days here and there. I mean you need to be consistently profitable by doubling a $10,000 ES account, or first you probably need to double a 1,000 or 1,500 MES account. Start there. No, you won't make a lot of money there, but you can't lose a lot of money. And then once you can do it there, there's no reason you can't do it in the ES. And you can just flip over the end and start slow and build, and slowly build your leverage over time. And that's another thing. You can't immediately start trading 10 or 15 or probably even 5 contracts. You got to start small because of the mental issues. But anyway, this has gotten long enough. I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Believe it or not, we wrap up another week tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday, but I'll be back tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see